Welcome to the complete guide on how to fix your mental health and physical health. So whether you have addiction, paranoia, overwhelm, procrastination, exhaustion, depression, stress or anxiety, I'm going to be going through all of that, and it's all a function of the mind and the body. And I'm just going to get straight to it. So first thing is myths, misunderstandings. You need to be aware of the truth, but also of the things you might believe that are actually causing you a problem. And the first one of them is be present. You do want to be present. You want to be living completely here and now and not having anything interrupting your flow of energy and your focus and your awareness. But what people are doing, they're in bad situations externally, or the way things are happening in their lives, and they're just not considering the future or the symptoms. So the future, people think, I'm not going to think about the future. But if you think about the future, if you understand enthusiasm and vision, that's the most empowering thing you can do. You need to think about the future, and you need to be aware of what's resurfacing from the past, because we store emotional pain. And if you're depressed, you have some kind of this feeling, it's got to change, it's got to come out. And if you're just being present, you're in denial. Or even worse, you're thinking positive. I'm just going to think happy thoughts. Now, that's probably where you started. Just good mindset. But since then, there's so much information that's coming into your brain. Concerns, worries, unconsidered thoughts, unmade decisions, the television, the radio, and also emotional events. And these can be like the most minor. I had a client who, when we did hypnosis, went back to 4 years old on stage, completely irrelevant, but he was seeing me for a session for a job interview. So he was anxious. So there's so much we've experienced. You have to look at who we are, and we would have been in forests with not that many, not millions and millions of people or thousands of people around us, and it was very uncomplicated. And now there's just so much information. There's screens, like awareness. The reason people have problems with their bodies is their awareness is all in their head, and they're not feeling the symptoms of pain. Pain is a signal, but emotional pain or physical pain, there's a deletion mechanism. So after a while, we stop noticing the signals. They get weaker and weaker and weaker until there's an injury, or until it becomes normal. So being present is the objective, but it's not the process. You want to have a disciplined mind. You want to try not to think too much, but the idea, you have a notepad and you just start writing everything down. You don't live in daydream la la land, because the real world is better than anything you can think of. There is a natural mental health, there is a natural energy within you and good feelings that flows. There's just everything else is interrupting. So you start getting it down on a notepad, and then in the evening, whether this is about the future, what your plans are, how you're going to change your present circumstance, or whether it's stuff from the past you need to review. Because the past has treasure. They say, it's a myth, forget the past. No, you want to remember if you're a legend. We have all these resources. We have all these, there's times you tell funny jokes, there's times, and then people have low self-esteem. Is such a pandemic. I've seen, I should be saying this with a very sad face, but it's very sad. People don't see how wonderful they are, and it's a real shame. So you need to be able to remember that. And the reason we don't remember these things is because by the time you're 30, you've been alive for 11,000 days. And to even consider that for a second, how much time that is and how many moments that is crazy. It's non-comprehensible. So we need to delete different. It deletes different things, and it gives priority for survival. If someone threw a javelin at you, you'd want to remember, okay, don't go near that tribe, because they might they want me to not be here anymore. So they want to get rid of our tribe. So we remember the scary or uncomfortable, or the pain, the emotional pain. We it's more of a bias to that. So that's why people carry this around more, even though they might have had a very good life. So you've got to work through that. You've got to find methods to release it, which is by going through the paperwork that I show you, how you change beliefs. But you also have to have a complete review, complete honesty. You need to remember everything. You need to understand yourself. You need to understand others. You need to understand the world. Every thought that comes into your mind. There's going to be times when you weren't so good, and you've got to understand your bad qualities. But you have self-understanding for self-esteem. It's okay. You see the sequence of events when you properly review the past. It's like, okay, that's why I was like that. That's why I didn't achieve that. And you have a full understanding. You have some compassion as well. You'll get to see, if you have had handicaps along the way, because some people are very harsh on themselves. That's why we say people complain about the inner critic. Oh, don't be so harsh on yourself. Again, that's a myth though. You should be harsh on yourself. You should be, and that doesn't go away until you're doing the best you can do every day. It's a daily measure, I believe anyway. The inner critic is silent once you're putting in 100%. And the only reason you can't put in 100% is probably because you're exhausted. It's because there's limiting beliefs, like you can't see how. And all this weight, emotional weight that holds people back. But once you review the past, once you remember everything, you can see why things happened in different ways. And you get to the point where you fully accept yourself, and you will need to know who you are and what you believe in, and remember that. And be completely comfortable, be completely confident with with nothing else. And the same for other people. We view the world in three main areas. We view ourselves, we view other people, and we view life in general, the world. These are intellectual concepts. And you've got to view other people well as well. Like, it affects us all the time. If you buy something and you get your change, are you thinking, when you check your change, because this person might have intentionally shortchanged me? Or do you think people make mistakes? Because whatever you think is going to affect how you feel. Every thought you have creates a feeling. And the original memory, so that could have come from, if people stole from you in the past, or a few times, that's to remember it. So you want to be able to remember different events, but you let go of the feeling, because there's no point carrying around resentment and stuff. It doesn't help you, and it doesn't help anyone, and it's all old. So you change the way you view people. You let go of all these different these things that have happened. And you do that by investigating, and the way we view the world as well. It's all beliefs. The way, if I say to you, for example, someone that's depressed, they will look at someone, say, let's go to art gallery, and they'll make an image in their mind, and it will be, and our images, the way we see the future is based on our past experiences. So you must sort this out. So when you look at the future, it's more what it's drawing from. It doesn't come with all those beliefs and limitations and worst case scenarios. So that will be a very unappealing image to them. I don't know if I want to go, it doesn't look too good. But there's infinite possibilities. They might not even make it. They might get to a restaurant halfway and see a friend outside and oh, I haven't seen you in ages, let's go and have a meal. So we're constantly making images in our mind. And it's all based on that and how we feel. And if you're depressed compared to if you're happy, you have access to a different set of thoughts. So there's so many of these different concepts I go through, and it's like 6 hours. So there's a lot to know, to be aware of. So yeah, that's that. And think positive, be present. So yeah, love yourself. You don't just love yourself. You've got to have a reason to love yourself. You do compare yourself to others. That's how we evolve as a society. You don't live in a vacuum. Things like you get used to it. Terrible. Well, we got used to it because our grandparents had to, because of the war and because of the factories. There weren't really many other jobs. And I see so many people that are in a bad way because they're trying to get used to something, but it's just a deleting mechanism in the brain. Like, these are signals. I've seen offices where there's no daylight, there's no windows. It's not in legislation for daylight, and people wonder why they're depressed. You have to know what the causes are. You have to know what the rules are too. And pain I've been in, I also have to say, warehouse. It's not to expose the company, but where every single person has an injury. That's not normal. A lot of these conditions aren't right, and that's why people get angry. That's why people get stressed. That's why people get depressed, because I believe there are mechanisms. We know that when something's fair and when something's not fair, but people deny our emotions, and they're supposed to be motivators. Okay, so yeah, you want to go into the future. People say don't say the future. You want to get into that, and the past too. Okay, Maslow's needs, not true. This whole thing with lockdown, you might have seen. When you accept a psychological theory, you stop using your mind and you make a conclusion. So if you're depressed, you know, okay, so I haven't been social in a while because that's why I'm depressed. You stay in the feeling, but what you have to do is continue to use your mind, because if you keep using your mind, you keep thinking, you're going to have a new emotion. And by thinking and going into your mind, that's where you get solutions, that's where you get ideas, and then you can change your circumstances. You can figure things out. And so status thing and all the rest of it, it's limiting. If things are limiting, it's best not to believe it. But if it's empowering, then it's good. Such as genetics. You are predisposed to have a condition because your parents had it. Potentially true with disease, but in psychology, very different. The reason it's observed that this is the case is because our parents tell us what they think. We didn't think what our parents think. We do what our parents do. And that's the reason for that. It's even been shown by thought alone. Epigenetics is the study. We can influence our DNA just through thinking. The other one was a brain chemical imbalance. It was just, they took photos of people that were depressed while they were in the office and said thank you. And then they said, this is what a depressed brain looks like. So if they had taken them pictures of that same person once they'd been to the cinema, once they'd done a good day's work that they felt proud of, once they'd just finished shopping and were excited to make a nice meal, it would have been a completely different brain chemical showing. So you're not stuck that way. It's perfectly possible to recover your mental health. And again, placebo effect as well. 50% they took studies of people with different illnesses, and they gave sugar pills, and 50% of them recovered from the illness because of belief. So it's really important what you believe, it's really important what you think. Okay, so stress, anxiety and depression is the main focus. Okay, so the answer to stress and anxiety is confidence. The answer to both of them as well is relaxation. You need to become more relaxed, and once you go through all your thoughts, you're not thinking as much, you will be more relaxed. And the answer to depression is motivation. You've got to get enthusiastic, you've got to get inspired again. Like if you have been inspired, you've got to reconnect to that. What was it? Go through your mind, find it. If you've achieved quite a few things, but you've taken the punches along the way and the failures, you've got to reconnect to that as well. Like your own self-belief, it's all inside you. And you've got to get enthusiastic. You've got to set your vision. Okay, right, maybe that didn't work. What's the next thing? And believe in that and have that. And it's easy to do once the other stuff isn't interfering. So you want to fix your body. You want to get rid of all of the body pain. You want to remove any feelings that you don't like, and thoughts and questions. There's a series of questions in this series that is going to show you what to think about and what to gather, because a question makes you go inside your mind. It's a series of going inside your mind, getting things out, and getting rid of all those old feelings that are no longer relevant. And then you need to control how you feel, have your mind still, have the right attitude, have a discipline. You want to be focused, you want to be alert, and you need to feel again, okay? So a lot of people become numb. When you're numb, you don't enjoy the good things as much. And again, people live from the neck up because of TVs, because of concrete. There's a lot of different reasons, but that's the way it is. And the body is a very important point. So you might have remembered being a kid and you were so happy, you just got overwhelmed with enthusiasm, and then you just started running, and then your cousin was running, whoever was running with you, and then you get told off because you might fall over and hurt yourself. But that's how enthusiasm used to work. It used to be through the whole body, and that's where you got to get back to. Whereas conditioning through repetitive movements, repetitive thinking changes this. And too much up here is where you live. You're not in your hands and in your legs as much. So I talk about awareness a lot, and you've got to get to the point where you feel. And this is why I talk about gratitude. Like, people can't struggle with the appreciation thing. We need to get more in touch with that, and then you'll be golden. So psychological awareness too. The other reason physical awareness is because, say you get stressed, a lot of people I'm stressed. But there's a point before that, there's a few points before that. So you've got jaw clenching, and then they find out they're stressed. And they focus more the next time. It's my neck. Then my jaw gets stressed, tense, and then I'm stressed. So a little bit longer. Okay. When I rush, that's when my neck gets stiff, jaw clenches. So there's always a sequence for every emotion. And I'll talk about that some more later. But you need that kind of awareness. And prevention is better than cure. And if you do end up in a state, you need to stop, you need to pause, you need to relax as soon as you can. And the other objective is you don't want to be exhausted. And if you do this, you take care of your body in the morning, you stretch, you warm up, your body's going to be ready, because your head is heavy. If you imagine a dumbbell and you put that on top of a fish spine, that's kind of what it looks like. That's what we're dealing with this. Your head always needs to be centre. And if we say a door is under stress, people are under stress because of their bodies. Elastic bands, this is what the muscles like. We need to be warming up. And I see people even in the gym, they go straight in and they're lifting heavy weights. People walking down the street and they're just rushing everywhere. They're on concrete, but the deleting mechanism, the signals, people are not paying attention to their bodies, they're not connected. So yeah. And then you need an increasing ongoing process. So another reason people are depressed is because they're in a situation, they might not be making much money, and the rents are very high, and are the mortgages. So we need to be improving our lives, and if we're not happy with the situation, it needs to be changing. If, for example, you're on a contract and you're there for a certain amount of time, perhaps you can't change your job situation yet. You need to improve your relationship then, or you need to sort your body out, or you need to learn a new skill. There needs to be constant progress in your life. If you're not satisfied, if you're not happy. And we're here to live. We're here to work, we're here to trade, but we're here to live as well, and people were trying to think positive. And you can't do that a lot of time in these situations, so you need a plan as well, and to be constantly moving on that plan, there needs to be progress. So happiness, we need to progress to something where there's meaning. There needs to be meaning in our lives. We need to be doing something we believe in, Because meaning is everything. You know, what's important. And in the West, we become focused on joys, which is another part of happiness, but the joy is temporary. It doesn't last. But the happier you get, and happiness is different to mental health. Mental health is more of a structure, how we think. Happiness is more of an energy, and the joys, the more happy you are, so the more meaning you put into life, the more enthusiastic you are, the more satisfaction you get. Like, say you're building up positive karma, let's put it that way, the better the joys are. And people are after material goods, and they're focused on what they think is going to make them happy, and it's not the way. So you need some meaning, it's enthusiasm, and then, well, the joys are great anyway, but enthusiasm is kind of the driver. So these are all different parts of happiness. Satisfaction, you do your day's work, you're doing a good thing, you know, and some people realise that, and that's what they think happiness is, but it's got to be enthusiasm as well. There's got to be meaning too, and enthusiasm changes, and the problem with enthusiasm is people learn to not listen to it anymore, because either they're enthusiastic at some point and then they begin to doubt, then there's doubt mixed with the enthusiasm, or I'm not sure if that's going to be possible, or disappointment. And these emotions get blended in together, so then people don't go that way when they think about it. And yeah, so there's a lot to understand about how these emotions work, and so you can access them. Okay, so I spoke about information overload. Already too much thinking and lifestyle. Yeah, it's just the way things you do in your posture, external environment. Okay, so we're affected by sounds, we're affected by the things we see and the way we're moving. And there needs to be an energy exchange as well. It needs to be balanced in our workplace and our relationships. And everything needs to be win-win. And uncontrolled minds is the problem. People can't control their mind. The mind just does its own thing. Not having understanding. Not understanding how the mind works is a big problem. Not understanding what affects their feelings. We have a model of the world. Perception as well. You know, perception deceives us. Our perception makes thoughts. What we believe makes thoughts. You know, that's good. I think we're there. So in summary, always a reason. Yeah, there's always a reason for feelings. Just bear that in mind. You've got to be busy. So you need, in the morning, you need to have a set routine, or a set. You need to get your mind set in place first. So we can wake up and sometimes be like, "Oh, life is terrible." You know it's not terrible, but that's what starts attacking you. And have it set, like what you think. Your thoughts need to be set. So what you're going to think about, what you're going to make your dominant thoughts. What the future's a good idea. It's what's inspiring you, what's driving you. You have that as what you think about. And in the first 30 to 90 minutes of the day, especially the first 30, is when your subconscious is most active. So you want to be setting your dominant thoughts with what you're going to think about, what's good in your life, and where you're going. And that's the main thing, not what's happening in the news, what's happening, the problems at work. Is you get your mind strong, your body's warmed up, so when you're ready, you're nimble, and as you get to work, if anything goes wrong that day, you're not going to get stressed because you're ready, your body's ready to handle it, and you do things quickly, and you do the best work you possibly can if you've warmed up in the morning. That's good for you, good for your company. So the morning time is also when the unconscious will be giving you thoughts to work through and things to get down on paper. And I mean, people have got so much inside them. Good stuff too. Like a lot of the theories I made was by running in the morning. I had a notepad with me. So yeah. Stretch exercise. Yeah, and exercise, you've got to want to smile. And I explain how you can want to exercise. there's a way to do it, not through this suffering mentality. This is if you want to fix your mental health. That is, you want to suffer for whatever reason you can, but you want to recondition yourself to be doing this every single day. And if you stretch, that's a way of releasing the psychological pain. But that's the summary. See ya.